Hey, Jenna, come in.
You have, Julia, one of the most impressive resumes I have read.
Oh, thank you.
I don't normally kind of introduce people, but I think I must give some of the highlights. So, stunt artist, mother, beauty queen, actress.
So awkward.
You have, yeah, this is horrendous for you, but I'm loving it. You have a master's in economics and management, specializing in Chinese film. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So you're highly educated, fluent in 3 languages, and an advocate for Asian representation in film and media, Asian women. Are you exhausted by that is incredible.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm impressed that you remembered all those tidbits. So yeah, thank you. Normally people have like a prompter or something, but that just came straight from your mind.
Yeah.
So yeah, impressive.
Well, I've been reading a lot about you. I've been fascinated. I mean, that's so inspiring.
Oh, thank you.
So inspiring.
Thank you.
With all these sort of roles that you occupy, here's a big question. Where do you feel like most yourself? Where do you feel most at home?
I mean, that is such a big question. And people kind of sometimes look at my journey and they're like, wow, these are such different worlds that you're occupying. But for me, like it all made sense. Like one thing led to the other. And they kind of all seamlessly fit into my story. I think the question of home is obviously a big one. I'm half French, half Filipino. And so I feel most at ease when I'm with other people that have like kind of like a blended heritage or nationality or, you know, some sort of international upbringing, because I spent some time in Australia like you did, and then grew up in the Philippines, went to university in the UAE, did my master's in China. Now I live in London. I'm married to a Nigerian, so my son is mixed Filipino, French, Nigerian, British. So it's like such a, I guess, like a blending, you know, such a like melting pot of so many different influences and heritages, which is just beautiful. So I think home definitely is where my family is, where my friends are. And I do really connect to people that have like multiple influences and people that are really passionate about, I don't know, what they do and giving back. And people who have the same values. Also, I have to shout out God. God has been definitely a big centering force for me. Wherever I am, you know, just being connected to other people who believe in God. And that's been really, really good for me because
your center, your grounding.
Yes, exactly. Especially in an industry where you can kind of operate here sometimes. Like everything feels very like up above the ground. It's really nice to have something to keep you centered and like just like very much in reality.
So what came first on the journey? Because I really want to talk about your stunt artistry because that absolutely fascinates me.
Yeah.
But what kind of, was it the modeling? Was it, what happened
first? Not at all. Oh my gosh. I was like, growing up, I don't even know how to do my hair and makeup. I did it today, so if it looks horrible on camera, that
you look gorgeous. You look depressingly gorgeous.
Oh,
if you don't know how to do your hair.
No, I literally don't, because obviously I never went through that phase of like being a girl and like learning how to do makeup and stuff. I was so studious and like super athletic. That was like my vibe. My dad actually had a heart attack when I was 12. And that really changed like my financial situation for my family, and we had to get pulled out of school. And I really knew that I wanted to go abroad for my studies and just had like this big vision for my life. And I was like, the only way that I'm going to be able to do that is if I, you know, get a scholarship and I'm like the best at everything that I'm trying to do. And so that's why I went really, you know, gung-ho and studying and, you know, all my sports and afternoon activities. And I was never really like into like boys or makeup. Like that was just, didn't have time for that. So yeah, I was a very studious person, managed to fund my education through all my scholarships, and I had lots of interests, lots of passions. In university, I'd always done theater, like as just for fun. I just loved it. But I never actually thought I would go into it, like go into film and TV, because I was just like, this is so superficial. Like, I want to be doing development economics. I want to be working at the UN, like saving the world. That was kind of my vision for my life. So I did theater. I got into the university play, and then so many of the people that were in the play were also in film, and they were like, "Oh, I really like you. Like, do you want to like come and help me with my, my short film?" So I ended up getting roped into producing all like the senior thesis films
At university.
at university.
Right.
And I just loved it. I was like, wow, this is incredible. This is fun. I feel like I'm working in a team. And then at that point, my understanding of like film had really shifted. I thought it was this kind of surface level, superficial thing. But then I realized actually it's responsible for changing how we view ourselves and the world. And so I started getting really into it. I got an internship in the summer here working on Wes Anderson's film.
What?
I know I was shocked. I was like, the fact that this is like my first, like, it was crazy. It was insane.
That didn't come up on my research.
There's so many things that like it's just so random.
Seems like when you talk about the greats, he's up there.
Oh, 100%.
And you
100%.
don't even have to be into film to appreciate his composition,
Exactly.
He is so visually recognizable. Like, how did that come about? Was that just through
it's such a long story. It's a very long story. Okay. But it was a lot of luck, a lot of putting myself out there. Yeah. Basically, one of the films I had produced, I got it into film festival. The director had got in touch with another director. I was very into reading the trades. I realized that producer who had done that film was also one of Wes Anderson's producers. We just so happened to meet them at another festival here in Europe. Then we got talking. I stayed in contact, and then I asked him for an internship.
Networking, essentially, and being on top of your shit, if you
don't
mind me saying. Yes, but doing your research.
Yes, doing your research, exactly.
And putting yourself in the right rooms.
Yes, you need to read the trades. You need to know what's going on. And it was just such a coincidence as well, because someone in my program, I went to NYU, was talking about this film that he was making, because they're actually headquartered in Paris, and I was studying abroad in Paris at the time. Right. And I was just like, it's keeping your ears open, like putting it out there, like knowing who you want to work with, like knowing, your taste, your preferences, and just really being aware. Because you can have two people in the same room, and one person might not get an opportunity out of being there, and one person will. Yeah. So got really into film, did this internship, decided I wanted to pursue it, and then was like, I need to have some sort of like backup plan. So that's why I did my master's. My master's was in economics, but focused on Chinese cinema. Yeah. And then I was like, I really want to pursue this. I fell in love with Chinese martial arts cinema, and that's actually how I started learning martial arts, then pursuing stunts, and then getting into acting. So a little bit of like a roundabout story, but they're all connected. Every step leads to the next.
But all of that grounding and that depth and breadth of experience that you had at a young age kind of paved your way.
Yeah, 100%.
And it's quite unique, I suppose, to sort of specialise. Please, yes, I'm so glad you said. So we've got fish and chips, and I've been picking at the chips already.
Yes, I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Fries I've ever come across in my life. Can I just say, shout out to St. James Hotel for that.
The best.
This is a brilliant order. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. I told you earlier, I picked something and it was very British.
Yeah, I love it. So sorry, get back to stunt artistry. So you've been studying Chinese cinema. You'd started learning martial arts. How did that then become a kind of career path for you? How did you then navigate that sort of, this is an interest? Yeah. I want to do something with this.
Yeah. So I had to watch a lot of wuxia films, which is like a kind of genre of Chinese martial arts, for my program. And I just fell in love with it. I was just so inspired, because it was the first time I consistently saw an Asian woman at the forefront. She was the main character. She was a lead. And oftentimes they're portrayed as like strong leaders, just incredibly badass. And I was so inspired by that. I was like, I want to be this person. And I also want to understand the craft that underpins this all. So I am very extreme. Like when I like something, I do it 100%. So I decided to live in a Chinese monastery and military school. And that is where I trained, basically. And I was
As
training.
one does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I trained for like 8 hours a day. It was insane. It was the most insane experience of my life. But honestly, I fell in love with it. It was the time where I had the most clarity because you can't think. You're too tired to overthink. So you are completely in your body and you are completely, well, I was completely focused on that. That was my life for 6 months. And then I wanted to continue it further. So I actually auditioned for a spot in Beijing Sports University. I got in, although I don't know how because the people that were insane. I was eons below them. But I actually got injured, so I couldn't then simultaneously finish my master's and do that program.
Okay.
But I just loved it so much. And I was like, you know what? I want to find a way where I can combine all my passions for film, advocacy and impact, martial arts, using myself as the tool and being creative. And I was like, you know what? Maybe acting is at the epicenter of all these things that I really love. And that's how I kind of decided and started on my journey.
I've heard you speak a lot about advocating for the representation of Asian women in the arts.
Yes.
I love, and I think that's what makes you such a fantastic person to sit and chat with. So when you walk onto a set and you're in that environment, are you conscious that you kind of are responsible not only for how you represent yourself, but you're representing, a young girl like yourself that might be watching said movie and thinking, I finally see myself.
Yes.
Like, how do you cope with that and how do you honor that and navigate that responsibility?
No, that's definitely a huge question. And I think a lot of minorities or people, from different countries, even women, depends, what kind of landscape you're in. We all have felt that at some point, which in some ways it's a little bit unfair because you just want to be yourself, right? You don't want to be responsible for representing a whole, portion of the population. But in other ways, it's also a really big honor and one that I take seriously. And I feel I actually worked on a film. I can't really say too many details, but I had children for this film and they were part Filipino. And I was shocked. So the casting director had done such an amazing job of finding my husband, finding me, making sure that our children were both of our ethnicities and our heritages. And the mom actually wrote to me later on and she said that she was so inspired by me and she was so happy that she saw another Filipino actress. I'm gonna cry.
That makes me emotional. And I'm a white girl from Wales.
Oh my God. I'm like tearing up because I'm like, oh my God, like not just people in the industry, but like,
bless you. No, it's major.
Oh my gosh.
It's
if
major.
My makeup spills. Yeah. It's just, you want to be, I guess as a mom as well, like, oh gosh, why am I crying? I'm very emotional.
No, me too. It's I always blame it on the hormones. And I don't think it is the hormones, love. That's belittling it. It's a big deal.
Yeah,
I think, we live in a time now where there's a lot more diversity in mainstream cinema, which is wonderful.
Yeah.
But I didn't grow up in that time, and I'm sure you didn't.
No, not at all.
You're much younger than me, but, the fact that you're making that difference and you're making people feel seen is a big deal.
Oh,
and it adds a lot of credibility to you as a person, your legacy, your role as a mother, and the work you're doing. So you should be incredibly proud.
No, you get me. As a mom as well, you just want to create a different and a better future for young people.
Absolutely.
Whether that's someone that's, your same nationality, whether it's just a girl or a boy, like you just want to create a better place for people.
Yeah.
So yeah, you get that. You get how it's...
I totally get it. So going back to sort of like the stunt world, I guess. So
yeah,
your actual sort of training for that and how you show up on set, like, talk me through some of the things you've had to do in that role.
Yeah, of course. So obviously I did the martial arts training in China, and then I got really passionate about learning my own indigenous Filipino martial arts, which is actually insane. Yeah. So it's a bladed close quarter martial arts. So you're really like there. And that's the martial arts that's used for a lot of film stunts, fight scenes.
Okay.
Which I didn't know. And I trained with a group that actually trained women and children for self-defense. So that was another experience that was super empowering and kind of feeds into my work. I didn't intend on necessarily like, focusing on stunts, although action was kind of my genre. I started because, as you mentioned, I had done Miss Universe Philippines, and that kind of gave me some exposure. And one of the casting directors saw me and was like, "Oh, this girl's like really, she's badass. She's like has all this training in martial arts." So she called me up. I had moved to London at that point. She had reached out, asked me to tape for this like big alcohol beer commercial, which is hilarious because I don't even drink anymore.
Yeah.
But all the alcohol commercials, they're very like extreme.
Yes.
Like, so I did the tape, got the job. They flew me to the Philippines. And I was. First time I had ever done like my own stunts. We were on wires, we were doing jumps. I was so game for like to try anything. And the commercial ended up being so sick. And that was all from just that, having that exposure and obviously having that training background. And then from then I was like, yeah, I want to be doing this like 100%. And so that was kind of like my niche when I was starting out.
Yeah.
The first ever like Hollywood film I had done was actually Batgirl. And that was the Warner Brothers HBO one, which ended up getting canceled after we had filmed everything, which is insane. Yeah, it was insane. Oh gosh, that's another story. I didn't even find out until I read the news. I found out through the trades.
Oh my God.
But yeah, on that set, I was actually playing her coach. So I had to do my own stunts for that. And I was, training in jiu-jitsu and worked with the stunts team. So yeah, that's how it kind of like snowballed.
But you've done Marvel movies.
Yeah, I did the Marvel movie with directed by Nia DaCosta and did the special action work for that. I'd say that now, since becoming a mom, obviously that's taken quite a big toll on my body.
Yeah.
And also I think like, my tastes and my preferences have changed. So I'd say action isn't my primary focus. Also injuries.
Oh, I can imagine.
I've gotten really injured. I think as well, being a mom, you come to realize like your body and your health is the most important thing, because obviously you have a little person relying on you.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd say it's not my primary focus at the moment, but it's definitely informed how I act, my relationship to my work, and also the kind of roles and things that I do.
Yeah. You spoke about sort of moving away from action as a genre. I mean, we can't not mention the fact that you were in the Barbie movie as 1970s hippie Barbies. Is that
Yes,
right?
yes.
Amazing.
Oh,
and then you've got
thank
an
you.
upcoming project, The Magic Faraway Tree, which
Yes.
was one of my favourite books growing up.
Oh, was
so I am
it?
so excited.
Oh my gosh, you're in for a treat.
Oh, I can't wait. I've
Very
seen some of the trailers and stuff, and it looks
Yeah.
amazing. So those are sort of two big projects you've been involved in.
Yeah.
Both of which are, steeped in magic and nostalgia. And
Yeah.
have they been conscious choices for you? Do they kind of represent where you are in your life and your career?
Yeah. I mean, everything that I do, I always, it's kind of hard as an actor because you don't get all the information about a project.
Yeah.
Sometimes, they're codenamed or you won't get the whole script, but you kind of have to go on both gut instinct and obviously research, look at the creative team, what studio, who's casting, all that. I didn't expect Barbie to blow up as much as it did, because I actually got booked on that through my modeling agency, which I was so surprised by. And obviously having just done Batgirl, where the whole thing was removed, and I was like, that's gonna be my big break, everything's gonna come from that. I was just like, you know what, anything can happen in this industry. Anything can happen. They could cut you, they could cut the whole film, they could who knows. So
were you aware at that stage that it was Greta Gerwig and it was Margot Robbie?
Yes,
you knew those names.
Okay. I knew it was going to be Barbie. So yeah, that was obviously very exciting. And the Magic Faraway Tree, I don't know how much I can say if this is going to come out after it's kind of around the time, but I was very drawn to the role because they were casting for someone French, actually, and I am half French. And so I was like, I need to do this role because it's also super important to me to kind of expand this idea of what it means to be French, because that was kind of a difficulty for me growing up. Like, my cousins are white, blonde, blue-eyed, and I am clearly the opposite of that. And, you know, my dad is French. It's just what happens when you have an interracial marriage. Like, you don't know, your kids could be completely different. So yeah, I was so excited, and obviously it's the Magic Faraway Tree, and I was actually 4 months postpartum when I auditioned.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, and I knew it was a children's, you know, book that was being made into a film, and I just thought, I need to do this because I want Remy to see this film when he grows up and be like, that's my mom. So yeah, it was actually, I don't really do comedy. That was my first time doing comedy. But I'd say I'm very honored and humbled to, you know, be a part of such a big film, and it's gonna leave such a big legacy.
That's interesting, though, that it was your French heritage that drew you to that role. And that, again, is such a gift, isn't it, in many ways, that you have this sort of multicultural heritage that you can draw upon.
Mm-hmm.
So have you, you know, let's look at the positive side of the industry for a moment. Like, can you think of a time or a moment where you've been on set or in a project where you've actually felt really visible and really valued? And I ask that question because what can we as an industry and a society learn from those moments?
Yeah.
So how can we replicate that and make sure that those moments are showing up in sets all over the world all the time?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I feel like anytime I step on set, I feel so seen and also so valued. And that, I know that not everyone has that experience, but I just feel so grateful to every time I get a job. I don't take it for granted because I know how difficult it is to actually get a job. Yeah. I think that's the hardest part. So I do feel so grateful every time I come on set. One time that really sticks out to me actually is filming The Magic Faraway Tree. I think when we filmed, I was 6 months postpartum. We were filming all the way in Reading. And the AD actually had just had a baby as well. And his baby, Marnie, was the same age as my baby, Remy. And he obviously would ask me about Remy, how he was doing. And because we were filming there and it was, you know, such long days, they actually were like, we would love to offer you like a hotel because it's going to be too difficult for you. Well, it's up to you, basically.
Yes.
But he knew that I had a kid, and he actually offered for Remy to come, you know, on set if that made me more comfortable, for him to stay with me. And I just thought that that was so nice because we really need to support mothers that come back into the workforce.
Yep.
They need to feel seen. There are certain challenges that mothers face, whether that's breastfeeding or anxiety, being separated from their child. And just the fact that someone who was in the exact same position, who was a guy, he's a dad, knew that and came to me and offered that to me without, I didn't have to ask for it. My agent didn't have to ask for it. There was no, you know, rule set in place. And I've since contacted Equity and Spotlight to ask about, you know, what are the protections in place for moms? What are the policies in place to support mothers? There aren't any.
You're joking.
No.
That really surprises me.
Yeah, which I was like, what? So there's no like guaranteed like space for breastfeeding or, you know, you can bring your child on set up to 2 years old, or, you know, extra payment for child care if you're late. None of that. It's all on an individual basis, negotiation and that's the onus is on you, basically, and your agent, which for me was like, that's not good enough.
No.
But
so you don't want to be perceived as being difficult. And I know that shouldn't even factor into our thinking, but you do, you know, I still do. It's difficult sometimes to fight or advocate for your rights because you don't want to be seen as being the person that's whistleblowing or making a stink, especially when you know that, you know, you're so lucky to get that job in the first place. So it's all of that going on. So for having a man, as you say, to preempt your needs.
Yeah, exactly.
Is what needs to happen, isn't it?
Exactly.
And
I was just so impressed. I was really, really impressed. And that was a lovely set to work on. Everyone felt like a family. No one was better than the other person. It was fantastic. And I felt like they really did care about us. And they even organized a day for all the families to come on set. So everyone, like the people that were working in the kitchen, catering, the actors, producers, everyone could bring their family so that they could enjoy a family fun day on set.
I can imagine the set design and the whole spectacle is just absolutely amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Can you say anything or no?
I mean, you could probably just tell from the trailer that the sets are incredible. Costumes, everything is just beautiful. Aww. Yeah, everyone is in for a treat.
Oh, good. Can't wait. If you could have a chat to either your younger self or a young actress wanting to kind of follow your footpath, are there any things that you would want them to know that you could make that journey easier, or what advice would you give?
I think that, I mean, everything obviously has led me to this point. So part of me is like, well, I've got to kind of make the mistakes. But a part of me is also like, no, there's definitely some things that you could have fixed. I'd say it's easy to get distracted, especially, you know, when you're working in an industry where you don't have, you know, set hours, set days. You have large swaths of time where you're just to yourself trying to make stuff happen. I think I definitely got distracted with guys, for example, because I didn't have that thing.
They'll do it to you, them pesky guys.
Because I didn't like have that phase of like, you know, when you're a teenager and you're into boys. I didn't have that. And then I was in a 7-year relationship. So I, again, didn't have that. So I had a little bit of, you know, I was distracted, I would say, for a bit.
That's allowed.
Well, I'm like, gosh, so if they weren't there, I would have gotten where I am faster. But, you know, everything is a part of it. And as an actor, obviously, for me at least, I feel like my strongest asset is my life experience. And so whether it's bad or good, it's all a part of it. But I'd say, for me, you know, focus on yourself. That's the best thing you can do as a woman, not even as an actor. Focus on yourself. Focus on getting financially literate. Focus on building your career. Any investment that you make towards yourself, you are not going to regret that. But if you invest in another person, if you invest in a business, those things could fail. Yeah. But if you are investing into yourself, you're only going to learn. You're only going to get better. Yeah. So yeah.
Your most valuable commodity.
Exactly.
Isn't it?
Exactly.
So that said, what is your beautiful self doing next? What's on the horizon? Or what's on your kind of big to-do list coming up in the next year or two?
Well, obviously,
I would speak of, obviously.
Oh, yes.
I'm sure there's lots of secret projects that maybe you can't.
So The Magic Faraway Tree is coming out on March 27th worldwide. So I am so excited for that to come out. And it's coming out in the Philippines as well, theatrically. So I'm very excited for them to see it. And then I actually have another film coming out next year called Panic Carefully. It's directed by Sam Esmail and starring Julia Roberts and Eddie Redmayne. And my parents actually named me after Julia Roberts. I know.
Have you started filming on that yet?
We filmed it already.
Oh, it's already filmed?
Yeah, so it's coming out next year. So I'm super excited for that. And then other than that, of course, just auditioning and hoping for more opportunities to be on set. And
wait, I mean, I think they're going to be knocking at your door.
Oh, thank you. I hope so.
They will be.
The industry is tough at the moment. Yeah. But yeah, I love being on set. I love doing my job. So
that's tangible. And you've obviously put the work in, and you're so deserving of your success.
Oh,
you really are.
Thank you.
Okay, so in that case, I wanted to ask you if you could pass the baton on to the next guest. Who would you want to be sat next to me next? But it's obviously going to be Julia Roberts, isn't it?
yes.
But who do you think should be the next guest on Room Service? I'm going to ask you that. Put you on the spot.
Oh my gosh.
I asked this to Alexandra Lincoln and he said Jake Gyllenhaal because he was having dinner with him a couple of days. And that was filmed a couple of months ago and Jake still hasn't called us. So we'll see.
You need to get on his case.
Yeah.
You need to, I mean, obviously, well, now you put Julia Roberts in my mind. I'm like, it has to be her.
Yeah.
Because she's the one who inspired, my name.
And that'll be my first question to her. I'll be like, do you realise, Julie, UK woman, pretty schmummy.
Yeah.
You have inspired the name of one of my beautiful guests.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're putting it out there. Julia Roberts.
Julia Roberts,
fine.
if you see this, well,
Yeah,
you know,
give me a call,
she might need some press in the lead up to
I think she needs a
Panic
little boost,
Carefully.
doesn't she, Julia? Things can be a bit shit for her.
The fact that I really admire people who have had a long career, because it's hard to get a job, but it's easy to have a moment. But to have a career, that's hard in this industry. And she has had one for decades.
Very smart woman. I actually did my thesis on Julia Roberts at university.
Did you?
So I did English literature and film. And I then wanted to go into fashion in cinema.
Oh my gosh.
Didn't happen. But I did my thesis on how fashion and character transformation in film. And I looked heavily into Pretty Woman, obviously, because
the
minute she got a great outfit, her whole life changed. So
of course.
I was like, is this a positive thing? Or is this a really kind of like degrading, patronizing thing? I sort of explored that.
Oh my gosh.
And I looked at Clueless for the same way. The minute they had like a glow up, their life was amazing.
Yeah. Wow, that is insane.
That maybe she wants to come on and talk about my thesis. I can get it out of storage. We can go through the footnotes. She'll love that.
You need to bring that up. She would love that. I actually watched Pretty Woman for the first time this year. Can you believe that? I know. I guess because I knew that I was named after her my whole life. I was like, okay, I don't really want to like watch the films that kind of inspired it. Obviously, she's Julia Roberts. I know her other work, but it was only this year that I was like, you know what? Yeah, let's see what my parents were, and exactly what they were inspired by. But she's phenomenal.
Yeah. For
the read through for the film, as soon as she came on, she just lights up the room. Mm-hmm. She has that like quality to her. She's magnetic.
Yeah.
Like in Pretty Woman. Like, yes, the clothes definitely did help, but she still had that spark to her.
That innate.
Yeah.
What do you think that is? Is it self-belief? Is it confidence? Is it calm? Like, if you could sum it up so we can bottle it.
Yeah.
What is it?
I mean, I feel like it's star quality. It's that kind of
pure God-given star quality.
I think sometimes it can be brought out of us, as you said, with certain things like, clothing, entourage, the kind of like mythology that you have around a person. But I think the more and more that I like go into like some spaces, you can really see it in some people. And I think even if, in your personal life, you probably are like, wow, that person is she's so charismatic. She's so charming. She's magnetic. Sometimes people just have that kind of charm to them.
Yes. And you don't have to be in front of a camera or have a public-facing role to bring that light and energy into a space.
Yeah.
I can think of loads of my friends, actually.
Exactly.
That do that for me in my life.
Yeah.
That's lovely. Well, thank you for bringing your light and everything into the room
you're
today.
welcome.
It's been lovely chatting to you.
You're welcome. That was so nice.
I hope it wasn't too scary.
Oh, no, I think I got makeup on your...
Oh, whatever. We'll wash her.